Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode or installment of the PPC webinar week. And this is the first time we've done this, and I've already had so much fun doing these recordings with industry experts. So today, I have Megan Clarke from Clapping Dog Media. They are an SEO firm. She is the CEO and founder. And everyone I've sent to Meg has just had rave reviews. And so I'm so excited to have her here today to chat a little bit about what she does and just some questions that people had about SEO. So with that being said, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. So I run an SEO agency, a small boutique firm, and my goal is to take that negative, kind of sleazy or scammy connotation out of SEO because it doesn't have to be that way. And I really try to empower people to embrace Google and all of the good engaging traffic that it can bring people.
Awesome. I think that's wonderful. And I hear that so often. I feel like there's so many pay us and we don't have an upfront fee, but then we'll charge you a ton on the back end for all this traffic we're going to bring to your site that won't convert. And advisors get it all the time because it's an industry that has a lot of assets that they're managing. And so it's such a breath of fresh air to work with you and to hear such good things that okay, this is an SEO firm that I can trust. I sent a bunch of people your way. So excited to answer some questions today.
Yeah, me too. Yes, thank you. And I do believe that the key of SEO is transparency, so you don't feel those scammy, skeezy things. So yes, bring on your questions, Zoe. I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready too. So then we'll just start from the top. So the first question we got, when I thought this was a really good one, I have some thoughts as well, is we have been having success with our blog bringing in traffic, about 9,000 a month in organic traffic from Google, but our firm is seeing a 25% decline in organic traffic since the October core update. Should we change our strategy? Is there some sort of new content that the new update favors, or is this just sort of the volatility that's par for the course that we should expect?
That is such a great question, and I wish I had a clear, definite answer. So my response is, if you have been having a blog over time that has been good at bringing in organic traffic, stay the course. Google does these updates all the time. I think there was that one you referenced one in October, one just rolled out earlier this week. So there are these constant Google updates, and it is not well advised to chase them. There's always going to be a loophole to gain one algorithm over the next, but when they update it again in a month or 2 months or whenever, you may lose ground. So my advice is to stick with your strategy where you show up authentically and helpful, provide value to your clients, and stick with it. And I would be confident that as the other updates roll out, you will be rewarded for them. So stay the course and be helpful.
Right. I would completely agree with that. And I think too, a lot of our clients run into this where they're doing a ton of educational and helpful content. That's really their bread and butter. And it is driving traffic in some ways, or maybe they're just, they need some help from someone like you or whatever to focus on the right keywords. But in general, their content creation strategy is strong. Their goal is not to sell people with their content. They've got a really solid content marketing game. It's just about how do we maximize that and kind of keep pouring gas on the fire that's already burning and play the long game. So I know core updates can be frustrating, but in general, I think, and I'm no SEO expert, but it's something we kind of dabble in, is I think a lot of the updates recently too, even if there may be some volatility as they change things, and I know the Google Search Console has sort of shifted around and things like that too, it's kind of rewarding small business owners who have educational content. So continuing to stay that course, focus on your core keywords that you want to rank for, I think that makes the most sense.
I totally agree. Yeah, stay the course. Stay the course.
Okay, awesome. So then next question. How can I create content that drives traffic as a new financial advisor? My website's brand new. I hear this question all the time from people who are okay, how do I even compete, right? There's so many people who have budget for paid. I don't. What does that look like? What do you recommend for someone who's brand new?
Well, for brand new folks, and we work with brand new people all the time, this is the opportunity for you to show up and put your essence of who you are on your website. There are a million financial firms out there, wealth management firms, financial planners. What makes you different? What makes you stand out? Why would somebody work with you versus somebody else down the street? And that essence of you and your business is what needs to show up on the website, because as people search around, they're going to either relate to you and want to work with you, or they're not. And we want that because we want to attract the people that are, your people. So just show up, talk about who you are, your ethos, why you do what you do, why you're passionate about it, who you love to work with and why you love to work with them. That's what you should start out with, because then you can start, getting to the people that are looking for you.
Yeah, I think that makes so much sense. And I think too, SEO is almost like misunderstood in some ways, like by people who are brand new who think that, okay, I need to pick, financial advisor for physicians or like something ultra specific. And that can be beneficial. But it also, like you're saying, showing up with who you are is almost like, I call it like the new age, like SEO strategy is like
Yep.
people will find you for a variety of like techie internet reasons just because they're searching for similar things. You guys have shared interests. And like that can be a very organic, natural connection for people.
That's exactly right. And organic is really crucial for financial planners and wealth managers, but it's not, it just brings people to your website. You have to close them. Like we're not buying t-shirts here. So it's not a one-time purchase. This is a long game sale. This is a long game strategy so that you can build those results and that, that relationship with each other. So you have to start with yourself.
No, I think that's really good. That's good advice. Okay, next question. I like this. It's a little bit more technical. How do meta descriptions work? Do they actually work to level up SEO? How much should I pay attention to those on the website? And I think I get this question from advisors who are brand new and have a new website, all the way up to advisors who are like, okay, I've been doing this for 30 years. What's a meta description? So how do you kind of view setting up a website's, I guess, like framework?
That's a great question. So for people who don't know, meta descriptions are the little 1 or 2 sentences that show up on the search results page that kind of explain what that page is all about. So if you're Googling, it doesn't really matter. You get the blue link and then you get the sentence underneath. That sentence underneath is the meta description. Now, it's important. It's helpful because it kind of is the last line of defense to get people to come to your website. So they're really helpful because you can persuade people to click on your site. So I love using meta descriptions to kind of be call to action, to have a good call to action, tell people what they can expect when they get to the page. They don't directly affect your SEO. Google doesn't pull keywords from that, but they do help with click-through rate and traffic. And so what Google does is it sees what people are Googling and it sees what pages people go to and how they engage with them. And so your meta description is that really crucial piece that can, influence people to click on the page.
Oh my gosh, that's so helpful. And something that I didn't know either, because I like help clients with meta descriptions as part of copywriting projects, but always just kind of assumed there was some sort of direct connection. But interesting, because we do see maybe in a roundabout way, like when people do update them and it is punchier, like a better sales, their SEO kind of organically increases. But it's interesting that it's like not a direct, like Google's not pulling from that.
That's right.
Oh, fascinating. I'm so glad that I have you on just because I'm learning too. Okay, so next question is, how should I track what's working and what's not? And I feel like this question is really broad, so we can kind of boil it down to like,
sure.
I had a lot of questions come out recently around like GA4, and people were like, okay, well, hold on, like I don't even know like what my analytics dashboard is, like what's important. And we have like marketing KPIs that we track for our clients, but they range everywhere from like site traffic all the way to like, are you just being consistent with social posting? So what do you recommend people track to get traction?
That's a great question. Well, the KPIs for SEO, I try to keep kind of small and tight so that they're the metrics that matter the most. And the very first thing that I monitor and keep track of is keywords. Like keywords, they were really, really cool 5 or 6 years ago. And now you can change the word keyword to like themes in your brain, because with AI and voice search, it's not necessarily that specific word per se, but Google, we use these keywords. These are what people search for, and this is how Google kind of makes matches. So the first thing I want to make sure is that you are ranking for more and more keywords. You can view this in tools like SEMrush or the Google Search Console, which is great. We want to make sure that your breadth of words that Google is categorizing you for grows over time. And the more keywords you have, the more organic search you're going to have. The next thing I track is organic traffic and new organic traffic. You can see this in GA4, the new analytics. I'm trying not to roll my eyes because I don't love it yet, but it's under
I don't like it
acquisition.
either, so you're not alone.
Oh, so hard. But traffic and then user under the acquisition menu. And you can see how your organic traffic is doing and how many new people are coming. A good key for an SEO plan or strategy is that you're getting new organic traffic month over month. We want those people because a lot of times, you know how we all do it. We just Google the name of the business. So organic traffic is important, but it doesn't tell the whole story. So keywords, organic traffic, new organic traffic. And the final thing is engagement. We want, if people spend time on your site, they click around to multiple pages, Google's going to assume that it's a good answer for that search query. So we want the time per session and the engagement rate to go up. 10 seconds is the internet average for engagement rate. So if you can get people to stick on your site longer than 10 seconds, Google's going to send you positive results and positive points.
Okay, I love that. And I think too, because a lot of our clients will look at like that average time on site and they're like, a minute and 30 seconds, like that's no time at all. And I'm like, that's forever. In like the internet world, like people are reading multiple blogs, they're watching a video, like they have committed to your website. Like I don't think I'm ever on a site for that long. So
It's
10
true.
seconds, that's a good takeaway. I think that having some of those like overall averages is really helpful for people.
Sure.
Okay, so kind of final question here, and then I've got a couple questions of my own. What's reasonable to expect for SEO initiatives? What are some like basic to-dos? So I'm thinking of this as like, you know, pretend it's in a business owner who's done nothing. Like they've got a website, maybe they've got some blogs, like they've not looked at this at all. They've never looked at their analytics dashboard. Like what are some to-dos that they could tackle as sort of first steps to get started?
That's a great question. So Google, it is in Google's best interest to put the best website on top of the search results page. Google gets paid by Google Ads, and the longer that you spend on the website, the more money they make. So it really is in their best interest to put the best website at the top because you'll continue to use Google again and again. So they're not trying to trick us here. They just want to find the best website. Now, the way they look at the best or the way they rank sites are things that we just talked about, like engagement. Are people spending time on the site? And are you being valuable? Are you answering questions? So if you're just kind of picking it back up or starting, I would just consistently put helpful content on your site, whether that's a video, a podcast, or a blog. Just make sure you provide words and context for your media and just be helpful. And if you are helpful consistently, make maybe twice a month, 4 times a month, you will reap rewards without having to track all the different things. If a strategy behind it with data and trends, that's going to speed things up. But if you can just consistently show up, grind it out, and put in the work, you're going to see benefits in 3 months. You're going to be like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then in 6 months, the flywheel is really going to start moving. So new content consistently.
Okay, I love that. I think that's a good, like, maybe not easy, but actionable to do for people. As I know people are always like, isn't there an easy button for this? And I'm like, nope, like you got to create the new content. And so I completely understand that as well. Well, then a couple other questions that I had just like based on this conversation. Let's go back to the idea of keywords because I do think that's confusing for people. So I want to clarify. So you had said like thinking about more of like key themes, which we use for our clients too. We call them like content buckets. And like sort of building out these like, okay, we've got these different buckets of either client types that we're trying to access or themes that you're covering with clients or like what makes you like from your service model or whatever else. But how are you viewing that from an SEO perspective? Are you researching, okay, this is like the best content bucket or theme, or is it more in alignment with what a client offers for their service count? Or how can, I guess, if I'm a business owner, I decide, all right, like these are the themes or keywords I'm going to focus on?
Great question. I would start with your expertise. Like, what is that value that you show up for? And it can be like, it's not necessarily one word. Before, I don't know, I think it was 5 or 6, 7 years ago, it had to be that specific word because Google, it was all an algorithm. Google would see the pattern of the word. then crawl the page and find that pattern and match it up. So if that pattern appeared, that word appeared there, then it was like, this is perfect. But now Google understands language, there's AI, there's voice search, and so it can kind of understand these themes. So related keywords that are related are really helpful. Like one plant that I was working on today was, it was a client that we have in Reno, Nevada, and they were like, are we ranking for financial planner Reno? And I was like, well, you're ranking for Reno financial planner. And it's basically the same thing, or financial planner firms or financial firms in Reno. See how they're kind of related? They're not all like, we don't have a page for financial firm Reno and financial planner Reno. We have a robust, helpful page that talks about that they are a top financial firm in Reno. Does that make sense? So I like to start with your expertise. Maybe put those out if you do 4 or 5 things, whether it's taxes or investment management, retirement planning, and get your expertise out there, and then support those with related articles with related keywords that would support, retirement planning or estate planning.
Okay, I think that's so good. I think that too, like, speaks to a lot of people who I've spoken with who are like, should I be financial planner or financial advisor? Like, which is going to rank better? Or should I be fee only or fee based? Because technically and I think a lot of times there's like people get stuck on like the one word difference and they're worried that like they're going to rank for the wrong thing. But to your point, it sounds like it's more broad, like it's more related.
Yeah, Google's smarter than us. And so they know that if you're looking for fee only or fee based, they know that's the kind of the same thing. So as an SEO, we are, instead of tracking like specific keywords, we now talk themes, like how many words that have Reno in them do we rank for? And it's lots. So it's themey. You still need words because we're in a word-based world, but those themes is really what I want people to feel comfortable with, and don't get caught up in the specifics. It's the overall theme.
Okay, I think that's really positive and good information too for people who are getting started. Talk to me about local SEO, because I have a lot of advisors who are digital, they have a local presence, and they feel very like, all right, like to your example, I have an office in Reno, but okay, like I work with clients everywhere. It's like, should I say I'm a Reno advisor? Do I care? What do you recommend as far as local SEO goes?
I love local SEO, and I like local SEO in the financial planning world because we can get more traction more quickly. If you're trying to rank for financial planner and you're going for the whole country, because you technically can work with anybody in the country, there's a lot of competition. But if you're a financial planner in Reno, it gets cut, huge percentage. So the idea of ranking for a financial planner in Reno and talking to those localities, you can get traction much more quickly. So I really, as long as you're not just 100% national, I really like focusing, at least starting with your location, and talk about your area, talk about the major cities where you have your offices, because you'll be able to get top on those search results a lot more quickly.
I love that. And I think too, like one thing we help some clients with is like think regionally. Like we have a few clients who are ultra rural or like they're Midwest, and they're like, hey, like I'm in the Midwest, but like, in my small town in Iowa, maybe I'm not going to have 1,000 clients. And so like, and then we look at like, what is your region commonly called? Like by search results, is it you're in the Iowa corridor or like something specific like that, where you can like really boil it down in a bigger way, but still like get the search traction you need.
That's exactly right. And Google also works with locations. And so if you have an address on your site, it knows where the website is, and it knows where the person is who is searching. And so if people are looking for nearby, like for somebody near me or nearby, then Google knows that. And you're going to be able to get a lot more traction quickly. So I really recommend that, as long as you don't have offices in 20 states, that you focus locally, because you're going to get more traction.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. And I think too, like in today's digital world, what I'm finding anyways is like, it's less of a question, right? Like people are not like, they're going to assume you have a digital offering when they talk to you, that You're
Sure.
not going to force them to come into your office with your mahogany desk. Like, even like we have
That's
people
exactly
who we
right.
work with, yeah, who we work with here for service providers who, okay, like I'm going to voice call a counselor for my kid's school or whatever, right? Like it's
Sure.
just much less like, okay, we've got to go in, even if they're nearby. So it may help you get more traffic and ultimately more conversions, but you may not have to commit to like, well, I don't have an office in the area. That makes me nervous. Like, I don't want people coming to my house. Like, that's probably less of a concern these days.
Absolutely. I don't think people even want to come to your house. People
Yeah.
don't want to meet in person. So yeah, they just want to make sure you're real and trustable and trustworthy. And yeah, but I completely agree. Like,
Okay. Awesome.
cool.
Well, did we miss anything else? Do you feel like you get any big questions from people that you feel like would be worth covering or that you want to touch on?
The only thing that I want to leave people with is that SEO or getting traffic from Google is really important for all businesses. There are 6 billion Google searches a day. Your people are looking for you. We just want you to be found. And SEO isn't aren't these kind of gray, shady techniques of jumping through loopholes to get traffic? It's about showing up authentically for who you are, and you already have all the answers that you need. So I want people to feel empowered that you can get some of these 6 billion searches by just showing up and being who you are and offering the expertise that you have. And that, I promise you, will bring traffic in.
I think that's so good. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people find you if they want to learn more?
Yeah, I am at clappingdogmedia.com. And I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and it's Clapping Dog Media.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. And everyone, I will include her follow-up information as well, so that you can reach out if you have more questions. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.